The birthday paradox: birthdays hold a strange power over human beings that few other calendar dates can match in emotional significance. Society treats them as mandatory celebrations where people gather to acknowledge that someone has completed another trip around the sun successfully. The entire culture builds expectations around this one day that arrives every 12 months for each person alive. Yet millions of people wake up on their birthday morning feeling absolutely nothing special about the date at all. They get ready for work like any other morning without pausing to acknowledge the occasion in any meaningful way. The day passes quietly while everyone else assumes something festive must be happening somewhere for them. This creates a fascinating psychological divide that reveals deep truths about human nature and emotional needs. Some people genuinely require external celebration to feel valued by the world around them. Others carry their sense of worth internally and need nothing from the calendar to feel complete as human beings. The reasons behind birthday indifference vary dramatically from person to person, depending on their unique history. Some arrived at this attitude through painful experiences that taught them expecting celebration leads to inevitable disappointment. Others simply evolved into people who find manufactured enthusiasm around arbitrary dates somewhat pointless and emotionally exhausting. Understanding why certain people treat their birthday like any ordinary day requires examining psychology from multiple angles simultaneously. The answers touch on how childhood shapes adult expectations in lasting ways. Each explanation reveals something profound about how different minds process the fundamental human need for recognition from others. Wounds that shaped the silence: the relationship some people have with their birthday was shaped long before they became adults capable of analyzing their own emotions. Childhood experiences around this annual event created psychological patterns that persist decades later without conscious awareness. The way birthdays were handled during formative years left permanent marks on how these individuals view celebration itself. Some children grew up in households where birthdays simply did not receive much attention from the adults responsible for creating those memories. Parents were overwhelmed with financial stress that consumed all their energy throughout the year. The child learned early that expecting something special on this particular day would lead nowhere productive emotionally. These lessons became embedded in their understanding of what they deserved from the world around them. Other children experienced something arguably more painful than simple neglect around their birthday celebrations. They watched siblings receive elaborate parties while their own day passed with minimal acknowledgement from family members. These comparisons created wounds that shaped their entire understanding of their own value within the family structure. The message received was clear even if nobody spoke it directly to them. The most damaging experiences often involve moments of public disappointment that burned into memory permanently. A child invites classmates to a party and waits beside decorations, while almost nobody arrives to celebrate with them. That single afternoon can reshape an entire lifetime relationship with birthday expectations completely. The embarrassment felt in those hours stays fresh in memory even after decades pass by. These early wounds teach the developing brain that birthdays are sources of potential pain rather than guaranteed joy. The logical response becomes emotional withdrawal from the entire concept of celebrating this day meaningfully. By adulthood, these individuals have constructed protective walls around the date that once caused them such profound disappointment. They tell themselves they simply do not care about birthdays anymore, because caring once cost them far too much emotional suffering. The brain learns to stop expecting. Psychology has a term for what happens when repeated disappointment reshapes how the human mind approaches future possibilities. Researchers call this phenomenon learned helplessness, and it explains why some people eventually stop anticipating good outcomes from situations that once held promise for them. The brain essentially rewires itself to avoid the pain that comes with unmet expectations repeatedly throughout life. This process does not happen overnight, but rather accumulates through years of consistent letdowns around birthdays. The first forgotten birthday stings sharply, and the child might cry about being overlooked by people who should have remembered. The pain feels unbearable in that moment because expectations were still fully intact inside them. By the third or fourth disappointment, the reaction becomes more muted, even though the hurt remains present underneath. The mind starts lowering expectations automatically before the date even arrives on the calendar each year. This psychological adjustment happens below conscious awareness as a survival mechanism, designed to prevent further emotional damage. Eventually, the person reaches a point where they genuinely feel nothing about their upcoming birthday whatsoever. This is not a performance of indifference designed to protect their image from others watching them. The emotional circuitry has been altered so fundamentally that anticipation no longer activates in connection with this specific date anymore. The tragedy lies in how this protective mechanism can become permanent even when circumstances change completely around them. An adult surrounded by loving friends who would happily celebrate them still carries. It's the old programming from childhood experiences. Their brain learned long ago that expecting birthday joy leads to crushing disappointment. That lesson proves remarkably difficult to unlearn even in safe environments filled with people who genuinely care about them deeply. Lost in the rush of living modern existence, moves at a speed that previous generations could never have imagined possible during their lifetimes. People wake up already behind on tasks that accumulated while they slept through the night. The mind starts racing before feet even touch the floor beside the bed each morning. This relentless pace creates a psychological condition that researchers have started calling time blindness in recent years. The brain becomes so overloaded with immediate demands that it loses track of dates that should carry emotional significance. Weeks blur into months, and suddenly, important occasions have passed without any conscious registration happening inside awareness. Birthdays become casualties of this cognitive overwhelm for millions of people living in demanding circumstances today. The date approaches on the calendar, but the mind is occupied with deadlines that feel impossibly urgent. Work responsibilities consume the mental bandwidth that celebration planning would require from an already exhausted brain. These individuals do not consciously choose to ignore their birthday because of past wounds or deep beliefs about celebrations. The day simply gets squeezed out by everything else competing for limited space inside their awareness. They might remember briefly in the morning and then immediately forget again as urgent matters dominate attention. By evening, they realize the day has nearly ended without any acknowledgement of its supposed significance. Some feel a brief pang of something resembling sadness about letting another year pass unmarked. Others simply shrug and continue with their evening routine because tomorrow brings another mountain of responsibilities. This pattern reveals something troubling about how modern life structures human experience around constant productivity. Special moments require mental space that relentless busyness refuses to provide for people caught in this exhausting cycle. Their birthday indifference is not a choice, but rather a symptom of lives that leave no room for meaningful pause. The quietly content ones, a third category of birthday, indifferent people exist that has nothing to do with past wounds or overwhelming schedules consuming their attention. These individuals know exactly when their birthday arrives and they simply feel no internal pull toward marking the occasion with any form of celebration whatsoever. This mindset confuses people who cannot imagine letting such a significant personal date pass without acknowledgement from others. They assume something must be wrong with a person who does not want special treatment for one day each year. The absence of desire for celebration seems almost suspicious to those who crave it themselves deeply. But these quietly content individuals have developed something psychologically valuable that many people never achieve in their entire lives. They carry their sense of worth inside themselves without requiring external events to activate feelings of being valued. Their emotional stability does not depend on calendar dates or the actions of others around them throughout the year. This is not loneliness disguised as independence from others around them. These people genuinely experience completeness without needing the validation that birthday rituals provide for those who depend on such occasions. They wake up feeling worthy on ordinary days without requiring special moments to remind them of their inherent value. Friends and family sometimes struggle to understand this psychological orientation toward birthdays. They want to celebrate someone they care about and feel rejected when their offers get declined politely. The disconnect comes from assuming everyone needs the same things to feel acknowledged by people in their lives. What separates these individuals from wounded non-celebrators is the absence of any negative emotion around the topic itself. They can discuss birthdays without defensiveness or buried sadness surfacing in their voice. The decision to skip celebration comes from genuine contentment rather than protection against disappointment that might arrive uninvited. Their peace with ordinary days reflects a deep acceptance of themselves that needs no annual confirmation from anyone else. Self-worth without the candles. Psychologists have spent decades studying what makes human beings feel genuinely fulfilled in their lives. One influential framework called self-determination theory suggests that true well-being comes from having core psychological needs met consistently over time, The most important of these needs is autonomy, which means feeling in control of your own choices and values. People who treat their birthday like any ordinary day often score high on measures of autonomy and psychological assessments. They have developed the ability to determine their own value without waiting for external sources to confirm it for them. The approval of others feels pleasant when it arrives, but their inner stability does not depend on receiving it regularly from anyone. This psychological independence takes years to develop and usually emerges from deliberate inner work on oneself. Some people arrive at this place through meditation practices that cultivate awareness of their intrinsic worth as human beings. Others reach it through therapy that helps them separate their value from the opinions of others around them. The birthday becomes a fascinating test case for where someone sources their sense of personal significance in life. Those who require elaborate celebrations may be revealing a dependency on external validation that runs deep inside them. Those who feel complete without acknowledgement have often done the difficult work of building internal foundations for self-esteem. This does not mean celebration seekers are psychologically weaker than those who skip the festivities entirely each year. Different people have different needs based on their unique history, shaping their expectations about special occasions. But the ability to feel whole without external confirmation represents a form of emotional maturity that serves people well. Birthday indifference in these individuals reflects something they have built inside themselves through conscious effort. Their worth exists independently of any rituals performed in their honor by gathered friends or family members. The spotlight avoidance pattern. Some people skip birthday celebrations because the very idea of being the center of attention makes them profoundly uncomfortable inside. The thought of sitting at a table while others sing directly at them creates genuine anxiety rather than anticipated joy. These individuals are not emotionally damaged but simply wired differently than those who thrive under focused attention from others. Introversion plays a significant role in how people experience birthday celebrations throughout their lives. The introverted brain processes social stimulation differently and often finds prolonged group attention to be draining rather than energizing. A party thrown in their honor feels less like a gift and more like an obligation they must endure politely until everyone leaves. This discomfort goes beyond simple shyness that someone might eventually overcome with enough encouragement from supportive friends. The neurological reality of introversion means that extended social focus genuinely depletes their mental resources significantly. They need solitude to recharge after periods of being observed by groups of people gathered around them. Birthday celebrations also create performance pressure that spotlight avoiders find particularly exhausting to manage gracefully. They must react appropriately to gifts, while everyone observes their facial expressions closely for signs of genuine appreciation. The authenticity they value in daily interactions becomes nearly impossible under such intense scrutiny from people who expect certain reactions. These individuals often prefer acknowledging their birthday through quiet means that involve minimal audience participation whatsoever. A solo morning walk feels more celebratory than a restaurant full of people waiting to sing at them enthusiastically. Understanding this personality dimension helps explain why some birthday indifference has nothing to do with emotional wounds at all. These people simply know themselves well enough to avoid situations that drain rather than fulfill them psychologically. When every day becomes special, a profound psychological shift happens when someone stops waiting for designated occasions to experience joy in their life. These individuals have rewired their relationship with time itself and no longer need calendar markers to feel fully present. Every morning carries the same potential for meaning that birthdays supposedly hold for everyone else around them. This perspective often develops gradually through years of intentional inner work about what truly matters in life. Some arrive at this understanding after experiencing loss that taught them how fragile existence actually is. Others develop it through spiritual practices that emphasize present moment awareness over constant anticipation of future events. The psychology behind this shift involves moving from external to internal sources of daily fulfillment entirely. Birthday celebrators often spend weeks anticipating one special day that will finally make them feel valued by others. Those who find every day special have eliminated this waiting period by choosing to feel complete right now instead. Gratitude practices play a significant role in developing this orientation toward ordinary days throughout the year. People who regularly notice small pleasures in their daily routine stop needing grand occasions to trigger appreciation. The morning coffee becomes as meaningful as any birthday cake when proper attention is paid to the experience. This does not mean these individuals live in constant bliss without any difficult emotions ever arising inside them. They still experience challenging feelings like everyone else, navigating the complexities of human existence regularly. But their baseline contentment does not depend on annual celebrations to reach acceptable levels of inner peace. The birthday becomes just another opportunity for quiet gratitude rather than a requirement for validation from others. They might acknowledge the date privately while feeling thankful for another year of experiences they have gathered along the way. These individuals often report feeling more alive on random Tuesday afternoons than they ever did during organized celebrations in their honor. The pressure to perform happiness on a designated day has been replaced by genuine contentment that arises naturally. They have discovered that waiting for special occasions to feel special is a trap that keeps people from experiencing fullness right now. Their approach to birthdays reflects a broader philosophy about how they engage with life at every level of existence. They do not postpone joy until circumstances align perfectly according to external standards set by others. Each breath carries significance when awareness expands. Beyond artificial markers that society has created for measuring the passage of time, the loneliness question people often assume that those who skip birthday celebrations must feel isolated deep down inside themselves. The assumption follows a logical path that connects refusing celebration with lacking people who would celebrate with you. But this conclusion misses the psychological complexity of how different individuals experience connection with others around them. Human beings do need social bonds to thrive psychologically throughout their entire lifespan, according to decades of research. Complete isolation damages mental health in measurable ways that scientists have documented extensively over many years. The question becomes whether skipping birthday celebrations actually indicates a lack of meaningful connection in someone's life. For many birthday indifferent people, the answer is clearly no, based on how they live their daily existence. They maintain deep friendships that provide genuine emotional support throughout the challenges of ordinary life consistently. Their relationships simply do not require annual rituals to remain strong for everyone involved in them. These individuals often prefer connection that happens organically, rather than on scheduled dates marked on calendars. A spontaneous phone call from a friend means more to them than an obligatory birthday message sent on the expected day. They value authenticity in relationships over performances of care that follow predictable social scripts. Some birthday skippers do experience loneliness that they mask with claims of not caring about such occasions at all. Distinguishing between genuine contentment and hidden pain requires looking at the broader context of their social lives carefully. Those who are truly at peace have relationships that nourish them regularly without needing designated celebration days to prove anything to themselves. The answer varies dramatically from person to person based on their unique inner world. Only honest self-reflection can reveal whether birthday indifference comes from wholeness or from wounds that still need healing inside. What your birthday says about you, the way someone approaches their birthday, reveals psychological patterns that extend far beyond this single annual event. Their attitude toward celebration speaks to deeper questions about where they source their sense of value in life. Understanding these patterns can unlock insights about yourself that might otherwise remain hidden from conscious awareness entirely. Those who require elaborate birthday celebrations often depend heavily on external validation to feel complete inside themselves. They need others to demonstrate care through visible actions that confirm their importance in the world around them. This dependency is not necessarily unhealthy, but it does create vulnerability when expected recognition fails to arrive on that special day. Those who feel wounded by past birthday disappointments carry protective mechanisms that shape many areas of their adult lives. They have learned to expect less from others to avoid the pain that comes with unmet hopes, repeatedly over time. This protection serves them in some ways, but also limits their capacity to receive love when it genuinely arrives unexpectedly. Those overwhelmed by busy lives reveal something important about their relationship with time itself and how they spend it. They have allowed external demands to squeeze out space for personal celebration entirely from their existence. Their birthday indifference might be signaling a need to reclaim ownership over how they structure their days going forward. Those who feel genuinely complete without celebration have developed internal resources that serve them well across many situations. They carry stability that does not waver, based on whether others remember to acknowledge them on specific dates. This psychological independence represents a form of maturity that benefits every relationship they engage in throughout life. Your birthday attitude is not fixed permanently in your personality structure going forward from this moment. Awareness of these patterns creates opportunity for growth in whichever direction serves your well-being most genuinely. The date itself matters far less than what your relationship with it teaches you about your own inner landscape and psychological needs.